Ring, ring. Hello?
Yes, this is Nathan Frick. I'm looking for Miss Julian. Yes, this is speaking. Yes, I'm calling. I'm looking to buy the house next door to you, and I was just wanting to find out a little bit about the neighborhood and what it's like living there. Oh, okay. Well, I've lived here about 50 years, and it's a real nice place to live, and it's real quiet, and I just really think you'd enjoy it. Oh, well, that sounds great. Well, I hope you'll be my neighbor.
Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, Madam Contest Chair, that was the conversation in August of 2005 with my now neighbor, Lucille Julian. She asked the age-old question that has been made famous by a television show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Now, if you Google the words next door neighbor, you'll get about 49 million hits. And I doubt that any of those will have the exact definition of what kind of neighbor you are or what kind of neighbor you would like to be. Well, tonight I'd like to give you 3 reasons out of endless possibilities of why it pays to be a good neighbor. And those are proximity, dependability, and take it easy. Now the first is kind of obvious, proximity. Whether it's 2 steps, 10 steps, or 100 steps from door to door, it's close to being a neighbor. Now the dividends can pay from anything to having a walking partner on a cool, crisp summer evening, or having food to finish a recipe. And when you were growing up, you may have had good experience with the neighborhood kids. You might go and play football out in the yard, or wiffle ball, or tag, or when it got cold, go sledding down the hills. And now that grown and maybe have kids, it may be important for you, and that was one of the reasons in factoring in where you lived. If there was kids nearby, and having the ability for them to socialize with other neighbors. Another reason you could be nearby is if you're growing a garden and you have plants and have extra food, a way to share your bountiful harvest. Another second reason being a good neighbor, it pays off, is dependability. We all need someone we can count on in times of need, whether it's anything from a natural disaster, even though we don't like to think of these things very much, they do happen. A storm could prevent your neighbor from living in their house for a time. Maybe a tree falls on their house and it makes it unlivable. This did happen to a Chattanooga couple several years ago, and they had not only the help from their neighbors on the street, but from the entire community come and help them move out all their items from the house into a moving van until they were able to get set back on their feet. And it's comforting to know that think about how comforting it would be for you if your neighbor, you could go to them, or you know that they would feel confident in coming to you in such times and helping and getting set back on their feet. Now another reason it pays to be a good neighbor is take it easy, or what I kind of like to phrase as relaxability. Now what I'm talking about here is living stress-free with your neighbors next door. Now we all do things that get on our neighbors' nerves. Our trees grow in their yard. Their trees grow in our yard. Our pets wander in their yard. We play our music too loud. You get the idea. But if you have a positive and mutually respectful relationship with your neighbor next door, then you can tolerate these things much better and it won't get on your nerves as much. You can live in an understanding way with your neighbor or neighbors, and you can get along much easier. If you don't have such a good relationship with your neighbor, you can always start somewhere, and perhaps the most easiest question could be, this is a great neighborhood, don't you think? But if you're just starting to move into a neighborhood, then your relationship could evolve from greeting them when you first move in, to inviting them over for a barbecue or a dinner, to maybe going out of town, or even something in town, some kind of event. Now, the residents of Downingtown, Pennsylvania have taken the idea of good neighbor a step further and have created a Good Neighbor Day on July 4th every year. They get together and have carousel and carnival all in the town for the whole day. And then they give an award out as the good neighbor for someone who does not get as much recognition as they feel they should with their volunteer efforts. These are just a few of the reasons why it pays to be a good neighbor. And I just would like for you to take some of them home and think about it. And think about what kind of neighbor are you and what kind of neighbor you would like to be. And as Mr. Rogers said, not only won't you be my neighbor, but to make the most of this beautiful day.